for hard facts.
Good afternoon, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili and these are your hard facts.
The news comes at you fast.
America's Food and Drug Administration have said that Trump was incorrect.
There's information and misinformation.
Their own NAFDAC came out and told Donald Trump, we're going to be waiting me where you talk. Now you talk by yourself. We tell you it's okay.
And making sense of it can be hard.
Coyote, I will let you talk. Coyote, I will let you talk if you let me talk. Coyote.
But that's my job. Let's talk context. Let's talk statistics.
Talk about those bills at the Senate right now.
Let's talk to the experts and the newsmakers.
I see the kind of stability that would allow growth to happen by this time next year.
Every weekday at 3.
Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
Let's talk hard facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts. Your last hard fact of the week. This week, we had 4,106 confirmed new COVID-19 cases. That's an increase from last week's total of 3,868 cases. Remember, I made a bet with you guys, right? Because some of you said that the government will start announcing lower numbers so that the EU will allow Nigerians to travel to Europe, right? So I made a bet with you that I'm going to keep track of the numbers so that we will see if the numbers were increasing or reducing. And no, they're not reducing. The official numbers are still rising. In fact, officially, the number of people who died this week from COVID-19, confirmed deaths from COVID-19 this week, was the highest for the last 4 weeks. 80 deaths. So we all know that Nigeria has plenty mago-mago, but when it comes to COVID-19 confirmed cases, government actually gains nothing by inflating the figures. In fact, what we have even seen in some states is governments pretending that their actual numbers are lower. Look at all the trouble that Kogi and Cross River are going to say that they don't have cases in their states. So please, as you are going out, ensure that you're keeping safe. Do all you can to protect yourself. Don't forget that conversation we had yesterday with Malik when he told us his experience with COVID-19, with being in an isolation center. If you missed it, you can listen to Hard Facts on any of your podcast streaming services. Hard Facts is available as a podcast now. So go to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, all of them. Just search for Hard Facts with Sandra Ezekwesili. It should pop right up and you can go ahead and listen. Speaking of numbers going up, thank you to all 630,305 of you who listen to Hard Facts. Special shout out to Mrs. Onyekwe. Your son Onyeka told me that you listen every day. And that's simply amazing. And thank you. Thank you also to Mr. Ogungwe. Your son Ayotunde told me that you don't miss Hard Facts. And a particular lady on Instagram sent me a message and she said, Sandra, my dear, you're really doing a great job. My husband would prefer not to eat food to not listening to you. And that message made me so happy. So please, sir, if you're listening to the show, I beg, eat, Ejo. Eat while you're listening to me on the Big 3 Global Edition because it's Friday. Let's talk about hackers impersonating verified accounts on Twitter and about Facebook thinking about banning political ads. Now, we trust social media for a lot of our information. How easily can that trust be exploited? We'll also talk about Tunisia's prime minister stepping down because of corruption allegations. And then let's talk about the UK's new fast-track visa for healthcare workers and why the Nigerian government is worried about it. Expo, they think even more Nigerian doctors and nurses will jagba. Remember, you can talk to us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. We're streaming this on Facebook and YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. As usual for a Friday, we're bringing you ideas with our Yobe, then Public Square with Agogo. They're continuing their COVID-19 series, so stay here for that conversation. We're going to wrap up the show with music and moments with Ifanyi and Sam. Even though I don't think that's going to happen today. I think sports is still happening. I think they still have matches that are being played. So that may happen at 6. Either ways, you're in for a great time. Now, there'll be just a minute on the show as well. It's not happening right now, so don't call me right now. It's not happening in the next 30 minutes or in the next 40 minutes. So if you want to play just a minute, don't call me within the next 50 minutes, okay? But you need to listen to every minute of today's global Big 3, and then you can win. But let's get right into Big 3 Global Edition.
The Big 3 Global Edition on Hard Facts.
Should online platforms worry about user trust? Why is resignation over scandal more prevalent in some countries than others, like Nigeria? If a foreign country offered fast-track visas for your profession, would you leave Nigeria? I feel like that's a trick question, and everybody's going to call me and say yes. But this is the Big 3 Global Edition. Let's get into the stories. Our first story is Twitter getting hacked on Wednesday. Suddenly on Wednesday night, the accounts of some very famous people started tweeting the same message. People like Barack Obama, Bill Gates, Joe Biden, Jeff Bezos, Kanye West, they all tweeted that they wanted to give back to society. And that if anybody sent money to a particular Bitcoin wallet, they would send the person back double. And it was a scam. Hackers had broken into Twitter. Hackers had taken over those handles. Anybody who sent money to the Bitcoin wallet, voicemail. It's estimated that the hackers defrauded people of more than 48 billion naira. Now, America's FBI and other agencies are investigating that attack, but they're also investigating Twitter itself. They're worried that if Twitter is vulnerable to this type of attack, then it could be a national security disaster. People could pretend to be influential people, for instance, and disrupt the stock market or scatter an election, or maybe even trigger a war. Yeah, that's the world we live in today. And it makes me think back to the story that we've been covering here for the last couple of weeks about India banning TikTok and the UK and US moving to ban Huawei. These governments are worried about foreign tech companies making their data and their networks vulnerable. And now we're seeing that actually the tech companies are vulnerable. So it's going to be interesting to see how this Twitter hack affects the rules that government put down in the future about platforms being used in their country. So, for example, some governments may not want their officials to have Twitter accounts anymore. Because what if somebody in America takes over the Twitter account of that influential person? But that's for government. Let's talk about you and I. By the way, Twitter locked my account briefly during the attack. That's because I have a verified Twitter handle. That means that Twitter contacted me personally some years ago and confirmed that I was really the Sandra Ezekwesili, and then they put a blue check mark on my handle. So anybody who reads my tweets can be certain that it's really Sandra Ezekwesili and not maybe Comrade Atman pretending to be Sandra Ezekwesili. But you see, the problem on Wednesday was the hackers were targeting verified handles. Because they know that you and I are more likely to believe what the verified handles tweet, because Twitter has put the verified blue check mark there. So that's why they locked all our accounts, the verified people, until they could stop the attack that was happening. And that made me start thinking about the nature of trust on the internet. I mean, we're all spending more and more of our lives online, right? We're doing more and more important things online. We're buying stuff online. We're getting paid online. We're registering for government programs online. We're also informing ourselves about the world. We do all of these things, and all these things rely on us trusting somebody online, even if it's just for a brief moment. But this hack has shown us that the platforms we rely on to show us who to trust and who not to trust are vulnerable. The hackers got control to those accounts because they tricked or coerced people inside Twitter to give them the internal systems. That's the reports that we're getting. So the big question is, what are the social media platforms going to need to do going forward to make their systems for showing us who to trust more trustworthy? I say platforms because it's not just Twitter. Facebook has been under a lot of fire lately. Some of its biggest advertisers are saying that they're not going to buy ads on Facebook anymore until it solves what they call a misinformation problem. Apparently, a lot of misinformation and fake news circulates on Facebook, especially about politics. And because of the pressure, Facebook is now saying it's thinking about banning political adverts. Because think about it, if people can create political adverts that are full of lies and spread them virally on social media platforms, they can influence an election, just like that. And since social media is everywhere, it means somebody from outside your country working out of a small cubicle can decide who your next president is. So that's the situation. We live in a world where more and more we're having to trust strangers on the internet, and we're having to trust the platforms that tell us which strangers are who they say they are and what information is true or not. And my question is, are the platforms capable? Are they capable? What do you think? 0700-993-993. How safe are we in the digital world? Do you think the platforms like Twitter and Facebook are doing enough to keep our data and our identities safe, but also to create an environment of trust? What do you think they should be doing more of? What more do you think they should do to improve trust levels and make themselves more secure? Remember, a social media platform is only as secure as the people who work in the social media organization and people who control access to the social media platforms. If they can be tricked, there's always a chance of a breach. So what needs to be done to make these platforms and these companies more secure? We've got Ruben up first. Ruben is in Yaba today. Hello, Ruben. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon.
Big woman. Yeah, on the whole issue, what I want to say is that Twitter is an American account. It's an American company. Facebook is also an American company. And what happened on Twitter actually has been happening on Facebook and even WhatsApp for a very, very long time. You just see someone hack into your account and then they start advertising. You start seeing the person. You look like the person is the one advertising the sort of the
service or something.
Like something like Bitcoin or Ponzi scheme. Yeah, Ponzi. That one is even popular here. I think that's been happening on Facebook and this thing for a very, very long time. You know? So I am not surprised that it happened on Twitter too. So I really feel that the countries can do something. What I really want to look at is this TikTok of the thing. See, TikTok is an Asian company. Huawei is an Asian company. And I'm not sure if there have ever been reports of them attacking their host companies, host countries.
Okay.
You know? Maybe it's true about maybe data vulnerability might be the issue. I think countries need to come together and talk about it. I don't think you just take with just one country alone to start issuing all sort of banning. I want to ban TikTok. I want to ban this. I want to ban Huawei. I want to ban Twitter. You know, I think countries need to come together and talk about this. Russia should come in. You know, a lot of accusation of Russia coming into, you know, a lot of attacks coming in from Russia. This thing, they need to come together and speak on it, okay? And the fragmentation of the internet is not good for anybody. It is going to be a very horrible experience for all of us. So the country needs to come together and speak about this.
Everybody needs to come together, Ruben thinks. Fred, hello.
Yeah, Sandra.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Please, my contribution to this program is, all I want to say is that, you know, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms are made by human beings just like you and I. Are you getting me? Are you with me?
Yes,
So, all I want to say is that there is no platform that is 100% secure. All you have to do is find out the loophole and you get access. In Nigeria here, we are not we don't have the technicality, we don't have we're over there. But what I have to say is that this is just a wake-up call. You understand? This is just a wake-up call. Thank you.
All right, Fred. Thank you for calling to share that with me. You can also get in touch via Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. You can send us a message on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. We're streaming live. You can also send a message on Instagram. Yes, we have a post up on Instagram. So share your thoughts via Instagram as well, Nigeria FM Lagos. How safe are we in the world? Do you think the platform Twitter and Facebook are doing it to keep our data and our identities, but also to create an environment of trust? But because these were verified accounts that were hacked. The verification of these accounts is so that you can trust the information you're getting from those accounts. And yet they were hacked. What more can they do? What more do you think they can do? We've got David on the line. David, sorry about that. Call us back if you can. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Maximus. I'm calling from Yaba.
Welcome, Maximus.
Yeah, I'm interested in contributing about...
Yes, go ahead. You're live on the show. Go ahead.
Okay. My opinion about the internet is it could actually be cut down, but infringement like hacking and other things cannot be eradicated. For instance, if the internet issue is a big breakthrough to man, and wherever there is a big breakthrough, just also remember that it's a very also big challenge facing the breakthrough. It's like a man who has a beautiful wife, but the wife also doesn't want to work. So the man leaves the wife at home and goes to work every day. Along the line, the man noticed that the neighbor downstairs is a very fine man. The man who was happy that his wife is not working will begin to worry because my neighbor downstairs is fine. Then the other one also has a wife who works, a career woman who is also beautiful, but remembers that the boss also is a handsome man that is rich. So that the problem is here and he is also there. As plenty as the world would want peace, so long as there is a manufacturing of weapons, in every year there must be war somewhere all over the world, somewhere in the world. So the internet, as long as we keep improving on the internet, and some writers of a particular program or inventors of some particular social media are making sales and making them more than the other, somehow those ones who are not selling as many as the other will always find a way to make the other one appear very insecure. And as long as there's also antivirus company all over the world, it's always happen. Remember, it was Snowden after some time said that, yes, China's are very good hackers. Russians hack a lot, but they are also learning when it comes to Americans. The Americans hack the optic fiber under the ocean. So, give and take, we can only find a way, to have a little control. Hacking is what we have to deal with as far as internet is concerned forever.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, thank you for calling me to share that with me. I appreciate it. 99.3. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, sir?
Yeah, it's me, Ruben, calling again.
Ruben, you can't call twice in. We need to talk to other people now.
Please don't mind me. I just want to have something.
Okay.
Just give me like 1 minute or so.
Okay.
It's about on Facebook, like companies saying that they don't want companies to they don't want to advertise because some political posts are being made.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say something like, okay, I actually read something, about all these soft drink and beverage companies about how they were treating. A post came out, how, on Facebook about how they were treating blacks, how blacks were being used as a testing tool for a lot of things.
Okay.
Back then. So I'm looking at it. Is it from that kind of political post? They are now saying that they won't be.
Well, those ones are not political posts per se. They're more, they're socio-political, I guess, but they're not political advertising like that. Ruben, let me talk to Noye because I spent time with you the first time you called. Noye, hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Ezekwesili, how are you?
Very well.
If they can hack all these people's accounts you mentioned, my sister, tell me what my account they do for them. I to just delete my account, come out.
Okay.
Because this account that they hacked. My sister on a hack. I mean, say English had me small. But they go to where they hack. My sister, it's too much. There's nothing that they can do. If they can hack Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, my sister, forget it. And now, my own prayer, and what I want to talk now, make nobody come under my comments. This one now be say they don't fight, they investigate. They hear me Ezekwesili. This is they investigate, make it not go be Nigeria person because now hush stop it there, now hot dog. I be hot. Well, I don't know they laugh now. Hot stop it, I be. They been there now. But they don't go investigate Nigeria person because if they go investigate the Nigeria person, they go hot all of them together.
Oh. Well, initial investigation seems to say that it's coming from Russia. So,
okay, make it be sent from Russia. Make them not come to say as Nigeria do assistance because what I don't observe for Nigeria people, make them body come under my comment too. I don't call anybody me.
Okay.
Nigeria can be assist for that kind of a thing. Make them not involve themselves. Make it not only hush dog or hot topic then hold for there.
Okay. All right, Noye. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. Let's go to WhatsApp and see the messages we have. We've got Ben from Ketu who says that this is the reason we shouldn't do e-voting and digital transmission of elections in Nigeria. It makes our electoral system more vulnerable. Nothing, I repeat, nothing is safe online. This hacking of a thing is becoming just too much day by day. To be sincere, I see people falling into this trap as people who are greedy. Sometimes people want to just get everything in shortcut, okay? How can somebody use 10,000 naira to earn 100,000 naira within 30 minutes without any stress? We should all be careful and try to contact the people who tweet or send messages before putting our funds out. He does make a very, very great point, you know. But again, if a Joe Biden or Barack Obama tells you, I want to give back to the community, you're very likely to believe them, right? But if they want to give back, I don't think they will start asking you for money. That's where, you know, intelligence also comes in. They will not tell you, give me this, I will give you double, right? So I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So there is a bit of greed in there as a factor. Etim is on the line. Etim, hi. You're my last call.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That's unfortunate. Etim, your line is not very clear, but that's my cue to tell you that Tunisia's prime minister has stepped down in the middle of a corruption scandal. And that is our second story. By the way, did you know that Nigeria Info now has a mobile app that you can now use?
Join the conversation no matter where you are. Download our mobile app by searching Nigeria Info FM on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Also, get news updates and sports, entertainment, news, and current affairs right on the app. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
The Big Three, Global Edition on Hard Facts.
So yeah, Tunisia's prime minister steps down in the middle of a corruption scandal. That's our second story. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Elais Fakhfakh has been the prime minister for less than 6 months. He was sworn in February, on February 28th. But it's been a very rocky half year for him. His party wasn't actually the majority in parliament. So he was in power because of a coalition with other parties. And in fact, his party wasn't even the majority in that coalition. The biggest party in the government was Ennahda, the moderate Muslim party. So from day one, he kind of had tension with Ennahda. But that's not the main reason that he resigned. Fakhfakh was being accused of corruption. A month ago, an independent member of parliament made some documents public. The documents seemed to show that Fakhfakh is a shareholder in some companies and that his government awarded contracts to those companies. At first, Fakhfakh said, I didn't do anything wrong. And he said, I sold my shares in the companies. But 2 investigations were launched. One by a judge, one by the Minister of Justice. That's the Minister of Justice in Fakhfakh's own government. A justice minister that he appointed started investigating him. So it's like Justice Malami investigating President Buhari. So finally, 2 days ago, Fakhfakh resigned. Now, let's unpack this story. First of all, a justice minister launched an investigation into the prime minister who appointed him. Could you imagine that happening in Nigeria? Let's say that there was no immunity in Nigeria. Come with me on this mental exercise. Let's say that there was no immunity in Nigeria. So presidents and governors can be investigated and prosecuted, right? Do you think a Nigerian justice minister could have the liver to investigate the president who appointed him? Or a state justice commissioner probing the governor who appointed him? And if you think that it cannot happen in Nigeria, permit me to ask you why. Why can't it happen here? What is it about Nigeria or Nigerians that makes you think that it's impossible for us to do what the Tunisians just did? And then let's talk about Fak resigning. Bear in mind, he hasn't even been indicted yet. It was simply an investigation. Investigation never reached indictment. Indictment never even reached charge. Charge never reached trial. Trial never even reached conviction. But this man, the prime minister, said, based on being investigated alone, I'm going to resign. And again, I want to ask you, do you think this could happen in Nigeria? And if not, why not? What is it about us as Nigerians that makes this idea of resignation foreign to us? And then a final thing about this story, coalitions. Notice that there was more than one ruling party. Of course, that's because it's a parliamentary government, right? Whichever party or group of parties that can form a majority in the legislature will control the executive. So if no party has up to half the seats, they have to come together and form alliances, right? And some experts say that this type of system may lead to governments of national unity. And that's why Tunisia adopted it after the Arab Spring, to make sure that as many groups as possible in a divided nation can be represented in government. Do you think a parliamentary system with coalition governments would be a good idea for Nigeria, considering our strong social, ethnic, religious divisions? Remember, we tried parliamentary system briefly in the First Republic, you remember? But later governments felt it was part of what led to the 66 coup and the Civil War. And that's why we switched to a presidential system for the Second Republic and onwards. But I want to know if you agree, or if you think maybe Nigeria may benefit from a return to parliamentary rule. 0700-993-993-993. Tweet us at Nigeria Info FM. Send us a message on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Do you think that Nigerian government officials are generally capable of honorable resignation? If not, why not? Do you think if immunity were not an issue, we would see Nigerian justice ministers or commissioners investigating presidents and governors who appointed them? If not, why not? And do you think a parliamentary system would fit our multi-ethnic, multi-religious society? I've got Levitt.
Yeah.
Good to have you on the show, Levitt. Is that your name, Levitt?
Yeah. Chris Levite. Levite.
Okay. Good to have you on the show. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I'm a first-time caller on your show.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it. All the same, I just go through what you were saying. The parliamentary government and the prime minister that resigned. In Nigeria, is not possible.
Why?
It is not possible because they said he cannot bite the finger that feeds you. That is our slogan, and it's our doom. It is to do enough in this country. So when you say you cannot bite the finger that feeds you, so when they are corrupt, you will just find another thing to, okay, see this guy now, Magu, he was found, and he said he will come back. Who does that? He will come back, see our ministers, see everything happening, billions of naira stolen, nothing. They just go there and they just, after probably they'll just, see Otis Okalo that was in jail, and after what happened? They brought him out to do, man, I don't know, I'm just tired.
So you think the thing about us is the whole, you can't bite the finger that fed you situation, huh?
That's what I see. Yes, because you put your own person there. So when you're corrupt, the person will not prove you because he's the one that or she's the one that put you there.
How about resignations? Why don't we have a culture of resigning honorably?
That is what I'm saying. It is good we have it, but I don't think the system here is corrupt. They need overhaul. I don't know. I'm just like sometimes my station is my car station is always on 9.3. Everything. I say God help this country. God is doomed. I don't know. Let them resign. All of them should resign.
But let me ask you something. If you were in public office, right, and you did something and you are being investigated, you didn't do the thing, but you're being investigated, would you resign?
For me. I'll feel betrayed. I'll feel okay. Let me step aside and probably they investigate me. Then you step aside, and investigate them. You resign. You can resign office, doesn't it? Because he feels that his integrity has been
impugned. Because this PM, they've not indicted him. They were just investigating, and he resigned.
Because he said that his integrity has been stained. Because if they have to dock up a fight that he's corrupt or allegation against him. So he said that his integrity because he's not what his promise. He made a plea that he will serve his country or he can serve the nation with open hands, and he felt that that integrity has been.
If that happened to you, would you resign?
For Nigeria, I don't resign.
To you, Chris, you go resign.
I'm not going to resign.
Let me talk to Emeka. Thanks for calling me, Chris. Hello, Emeka.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, what you are talking about, the Prime Minister resigning in Egypt.
In Tunisia?
Here, in Tunisia, sorry. Here, we have an entitled mindset and personalization of offices. You understand? You can see a man that lives in Abu Lasho. I'm going to elect the local government chairman of Amward of it. He changed the location to Lekki or go to Victoria Island. And to him, it's nobody's business. And those North African countries, they have tested their leadership. They have pushed them to the wall. As in, they have put them to a situation that they cannot say we are here because we're supposed to be here. The people have told them that you are there because we allow you to be there. So we have not gotten to that point. That is the reason why the road that leads to Navy Town has been bad for close to ages. The road that have the highest officers of Navy in the whole country. And nobody has taken it upon himself to repair that road. Even the Navy themselves have not protested about the rehabilitation of that road. Because of what? The personalized leadership. We felt we can't do that. We can't ask. Maybe if we ask, why should this road be tied? Maybe somebody will call somebody and they will be removed. So when we get to a point when we realize that it was because of us that those that we call our leaders are there, if they are found wanting, nobody will beg them to resign. People will actually force them to resign. Or the fear that people might vote against them will force them to resign. So for now, people that have taken over the country, sitting in positions of authorities that have overthrown our democracy and decide what is due to us and what they can. Let them continue and let Nigeria continue to play this APC, PDP until when it gets to everybody's neck. By then, we will know that it is not the problem of A, or B or C. That is not the alphabet, but those people that occupy the position.
All right, Emeka, thank you so much for calling. Babatunde Awopetu says, for Nigeria, government officials will not resign because of their corrupt nature. But it's not just government officials. You heard Chris when Chris called. Chris said, I will not resign. Dele Francis Ifenowo says, on the resignation of the Tunisian Prime Minister, I hope some ministers who are currently wrapped up by corruption allegations are learning from this. Until our politicians are disgraced, they don't know how to gracefully save their faces. We've got Nton Prince Brain, who says, Sandra, the system in Nigeria is about corruption and man, no man. Okay. All right, then. We've got more messages coming in via social media. That was Facebook. I'm going to take a look at Twitter and see what comments that you've left for us. Grace Oladejo says, Nigerian politicians step down because of mere allegations? Impossible. If they are convicted, they will rather serve whatever punishment and come back with pride. In fact, their colleagues will even welcome them back with big celebration. Average Nigerian politicians have no conscience. All right, let's see if Richard agrees. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Sandra. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I want to contribute on what you are discussing on.
Yes, which of the stories? The first or the second one?
The resignation of the
Prime Minister. Do you think Nigerian government officials are capable of honorable resignation?
I know it's very hard for them to resign, but there are few people that can resign on issues like that. Hello? Yes. Like, few people in Nigeria can do that, who has conscience.
Okay.
Like myself, I'm suffering of one thing that happened in my office.
Okay. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I wanted to hear that story. I did. We've got Edwin on Twitter who says, President Sandra, the Tunisia Prime Minister resigning, it cannot happen in Nigeria because our leaders' greed, even if the whole country is against him, he's ready to die there. Okay. We've got more comments on Twitter. Joy Forever says, in a saner environment, people step down when they are caught napping, but not here. Federal government is worried that they will lose their services because when you refuse to value what you have, others will help you. Hackers thrive now because 45% of the world works online. Kuforiji Sheyi Ghana says, why politicians don't resign in this country is because it's a political taboo. We've got more comments on social media, but I want to go to WhatsApp for a bit. Remember, you can also leave us your thoughts on Instagram. Instagram is Nigeria Info Lagos, Nigeria Info FM Lagos on Instagram. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3, and Twitter is at Nigeria Info FM. Haruna Ishola says, like the blood that runs in Nigerian body systems, it's made of evil water. Instead of resignation, Nigerian leaders will buy the justice. Haruna, it's not just Nigerian leaders, so... good job you guys are doing, Ayo says. The reason most Nigerians won't resign because the penalty is not severe. Okay. Innocent says, our leaders cannot resign and the chief judges cannot investigate their bosses. Man, no man is the order of the day. That is the essence of our corruption. Okay. Let's check out more messages here. We've got, stepping aside is not our character in Nigeria for the fear of the unknown. Shino Adetola says, all right. Shino, thanks for sending your message in. Let's see. Tayo in Aja says, where public officials will resign is not yet feasible at the moment. Okay. All right, then. Let's see this message here. Okay, I've taken that one. All right, then. Let's come back to the phone lines, take one story, and move on to our final topic on the big three today. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? What's your name?
My name is Uche. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Uche.
Sandra, the first caller that said he's not going to resign if he wins the vote. It's not that. He didn't say he will not resign because he's a bad person.
Yes.
It's because of the people that surround him. You understand? Because if somebody puts you in the office and you said, I want to resign because of what I'm saying, they will say, oh God, do you know what you're saying? Before you know, you will drop dead, or they will put you in a condition you never accept. So in Nigeria, is a place that you can never say, let me resign. Am I resigning this office for who?
No, but you're the prime minister. If you were the prime minister, or you were a governor, or you were simply a minister like Zach Babio, for instance, or any number of powerful people in the country, and you're being investigated, because the Tunisian prime minister, not just investigation, he has not been indicted, he has not been charged, he has not been convicted. Investigation was launched, and he just resigned.
Because those people we are mentioning, they value their name more than earthly things.
So Nigerians don't value their names more than earthly things?
No. They want to acquire the whole world. Even if you like call them armed robber, if you like call them thieves, if you like call them ex-convict, they don't care. They want to get to the end of...
How about you? Would you resign?
Because I don't want to die early, so I will not resign.
So you value earthly things too?
Not that I value things, because of I don't want my family to miss me early. That's why I will not resign.
Your family is earthly things now.
No. Okay, will I rather lose my wife, my children, my beloved, my relation because of I want to resign because the people that put me in the office.
Okay, so but if there was no fear, if there was no fear of you losing your life, you would resign?
If I have no fear, but I would not like to lose my life.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
Yes.
That's fair. Thank you for calling. Our third story, the UK wants more Nigerian medical workers, but the Nigerian government doesn't want them to go. So we all know that doctors and nurses and other medical workers have been immigrating away from Nigeria in huge numbers for years, right? The first destination was the UK in the 70s. Then it was Saudi Arabia and the Gulf in the 80s. And then in the 2010s, Canada became one of the major areas. But now the UK wants to go back to the top of the market. They're leaving the EU next year, so they will no longer have access to European medical workers. So they want to recruit more doctors and nurses from all over the world. So they're launching a new fast-track visa for medical workers. Basically, if you have certain medical skills and you're given a job offer in the UK, based on that employment letter, you'll get a special visa. So, of course, based on this news, I am betting that a lot of Nigerian doctors and nurses who were not already planning an exit just started planning their exit. Already lots of doctors I know are leaving, or they're planning to leave, or have left. So many are writing their PLAB exams. A lot of them have already written the PLAB exams. In fact, if it's even COVID-19 that has stopped a lot of them from traveling. And the Nigerian government doesn't like that at all. At all. This week, the National Immigration Service stopped 58 doctors at the airport here in Lagos on their way to the UK. You and Sheriff had that conversation right here on the Morning Crossfire. The Nigerian Immigration Service stopped them from traveling because they did not have visas. But here's the thing. The doctors had visa waiver letters from the UK government. They were traveling for a recruitment exercise. But because the UK High Commission is still partially shut down due to COVID-19, they couldn't issue them visas. So instead, they got visa waiver letters saying you can come to the UK without a visa and then apply for one while you are here. But the NIS stopped them. Even though the country in question said, it's okay, you can come. NIS said, you can't go. And this is making a lot of Nigerians wonder whether maybe it's simply just a move by government to stop doctors from traveling. But we got in touch with the NMA president and he said, you can't just leave like that. You need to have a visa. The health minister is telling doctors that there's no hazard pay in the UK. In fact, let me quote him. Let me quote what Oga Ehanire said, Osage Ehanire. He said, quote, I think we are one of the few countries giving hazard allowance. This UK, where they are going, there is no hazard allowance. They don't give doctors hazard allowance, but you just get your salary. They say it is part of your job and that is what you are trained for. They don't pay you anything. But here, apart from your salary, we try to add something to it with the hope that you will stay. End quote. Cheya. But here's the interesting question. If you add hazard pay to the basic salary of a doctor in a federal hospital, is it up to the average salary of a doctor in the UK? Because that's the key question. Some would say maybe even without hazard pay, UK-based doctors are better off than Nigerian-based doctors. You're going to tell me when you call me. If you're a doctor, even better, I would like to hear from you. And it's not just doctors. You know, if you look at almost every profession, the practitioners abroad earn more than the practitioners here. Lawyers, architects, engineers, radio presenters. So I don't even know if salaries or hazard pay is the best argument for convincing Nigerian doctors to stay. And I'm guessing that's why Ehanire made a second argument. He says Nigerian doctors owe the country service. He said Nigerian doctors are trained in school at a low subsidized rate compared to other countries. And according to him, it is unfair for them to turn around after getting cheap education from Nigeria and leave to go and make money elsewhere, denying us their service. What do you think about that? Because I've heard some people who disagree with the Ehanire. They say that, first of all, Nigerian doctors abroad send money home. And so they're still helping the local economy. In 2018, remittances from abroad were higher than oil revenues for the first time in our history. It's not beans. And also, doctors are not the only Nigerians receiving a subsidized university education. University education in Nigeria is subsidized for every course. So if we're saying doctors should not leave, shouldn't we say that nobody at all should leave? What do you think? And then there's the question of policy. You know that you can't stop doctors or anybody from leaving. So maybe instead of making the university education cheap, government should remove the subsidies and provide student loans instead. So that way, when the doctor finishes and goes abroad, they'll start paying back the loans. They will still be paying back the loans, and government can recoup its money. This is a suggestion that I've heard from economists for years, and I wonder what you think about it. We've got Sunday on the line. Hello, Sunday.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Sunday, do you blame the doctors for wanting to leave?
I don't blame them, but they are going to be on their own weeks. To my own understanding.
They're going to be on the what?
Their own weeks.
What do you mean on their own risk? What do you mean?
There are going to be a buffalo doctors over there. Like, you know about buffalo soldiers. They are going to be on the front line because of this COVID-19. They are just retrenching doctors. They are going to be on the front line.
But they're also on the front line here now.
But you see that, but their own, this way is going to be more worse for them. They are going to be on the front line.
No, but they're also on the front line here. So
they're also on the front line here, but the situation here is not as the situation in that area they're taking them to.
Isn't that simply because we're not testing as much as the people in the UK or in America?
We are not testing because even that one is the problem with the federal government here. But these people that are going there, they are taking a higher risk.
The people that are, a lot of the people in the isolation centers today are actually medical workers. A lot of the people who have been infected here in Nigeria and in isolation centers are medical workers.
I know that. But if you talk about the situation they are going to face there, it's going to be worse.
Okay.
That's what I know about.
Okay.
It's going to be worse.
Okay. All right. Thank you for calling to share that with me. I appreciate it. We've got WhatsApp available and you can share your thoughts on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Do you blame the doctors for wanting to leave? If the UK or Canada or the USA had a special fast-track visa for your profession, would you use it and relocate? Why do you think a lot of Nigerian doctors are relocating? Do you relate to the reasons why they are relocating? And if government cannot force doctors to stay, what can they do to convince them? Or give them an incentive to stay? What incentive can they give doctors to stay? We've got UK on the line. Hello, UK.
Hi, good afternoon.
UK calling Nigeria.
Well, that's good. And the related topic, Nigerians, doctors trying to move to the UK and they're having them being stopped. Actually, I just called in to drop in my beat, and what I want to say, first of all, I want to even ask to be sure so that I relate with facts on my own end. When we say Nigerians, the doctors are trained for almost next to nothing, how true, how realistic, logically is that? The facilities by which they are being trained, is it compared to the countries where we claim that they pay through their nose to get trained? Sometimes I wonder. I know the situation we go through on campus, getting our various training. I'm an architect.
Okay.
I know the training. I know the situation we go on campus. It's like figuring things yourself. It's like trying to know what happens outside, trying to build yourself with the little facility you have in the campus, poorly equipped. Is obvious in our budgeting system. So when we see the government finance and train our professionals, I begin to wonder, where are the facts of those things? Or are they supposed to, or are we trying to mean that the government are actually supposed to be asking us make our training more expensive in the real sense? Is that what we are trying to say? Because it's a two thing. Saying that it's making it cheap by claiming to subsidize it is one thing on the one hand, that is not verifiable by our reality. On the other hand, I prefer you say that they will task us, cause us to pay more to get trained, and then if that be the case, then it will be good, and they will know that, okay, when we cost us to pay more, tax us a lot, then we should then, in return, expect to see, facility on ground as to match with what we have on the outside, other countries.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
It's not enough to say, oh, we're training you cheaply, huh?
Exactly.
Now, what's a good incentive, do you think? What do you think a good incentive will be to get doctors to not go, to stay? Because we actually need these doctors.
Really, that's the truth. We actually need the doctors. And getting them to stay is not to pull all this blackmail. To me, they are just some form of blackmail. Because all these things we are pulling about my little logic or putting one or two together, the reality is we know, and I'm sure you know about our country and our education system and the facility you have on campus. We see ASU going on strike now and then. All those facts that we live with. And you're trying to relate with, that's not what we use to threaten these guys not to go out. It's to maybe to appeal to their conscience, relate with them in a reasonable way that shows some level of responsibility.
Are you a doctor?
I'm not a doctor, I'm an architect.
Oh, sorry, you mentioned that earlier on. If there was a visa waiver for you to leave the country as an architect, would you take it?
Now, it's a yes and no answer. Well, you may not believe me because an average answer expected by almost an average Nigeria will be a yes. You understand? If I will, it must be that, okay, I have seen a better ground to advance my career, especially if I'm passionate about my career, which I am. So that's my priority because I know that I have a better ground, advance my career, better facility outside, better, atmosphere to advance my career. And definitely, the patriotic spirit will definitely make me want to return. We have so many of those people like that around us. They trained outside. After some time, many years, they still come back, want to give back to the system, want to help those, who need to get similar level of, training that can match and compete internationally. So those guys come back and try to put in things on ground. But at first, they have to move out, to get the best of training. So that's the first thing that will pull me out. If I'm aspiring to do some ground thing in my career. Carry out some research, build on news. I mean, I can't get all of those in Nigeria. Doctors are just dying, getting exposed. You talk about PPE so ridiculously. You don't give them PPE. You send them to go and die like that. And you hear all these things that happen in the political system. I mean, I see it's just a blackmail on them. Number one, they have the right to move. Two, if you want to have them not to move, the best thing you can do is to appeal to their conscience by some reasonable way. Reasonable way, upgrade their whatever they are asking for. Like move and not like trying to tell them you can't get,
hazard pay.
Those are just substandard and poorly poor arguments to win cheap points.
Okay. Thank you, UK, for calling me.
That's just my point on that.
It's a great one. Thank you for calling to share it with me, UK from Lagos Island. I see that, as usual, you people have jammed the phone lines because you're trying to play Just a Minute. Unfortunately, because you've jammed the phone lines, you can't get into the show and play. But hey, looks like we have one lucky person who's been able to get through.
This is Just a Minute on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Okay, hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
What's your name, sir?
Sandra, this is Maximus from Yaba.
Do you want to play Just a Minute?
Oh, just a minute. No, I was actually calling for the program about Nigerian doctors and maybe the previous one.
Oh, no. Well, we're out of time, so we can't talk about Nigerian doctors anymore. And since he didn't call to play Just a Minute, I'm going to have to announce Jonathan Ajayi as our winner for today's Just a Minute. He called into the morning show. He answered only one question correctly. So congratulations to you, Jonathan. Today's your lucky day. Okay. All right. Lagos, thank you so much for being a part of Hard Facts this week. We're going to do this again next week, right? On Monday, let's have a conversation about widows and widowers remarrying. It's a conversation I started on Twitter, and people had a lot of things to say about it, and I'm curious what Lagos has to say about it. People who lose their wives and their husbands, do you think that they should get remarried, that they should start to date again, no matter how old they are? Do you have a problem with that? That's a conversation we're going to have on Monday at 5 p.m. Don't miss it. We've got Big 3 coming your way on Monday as well. And we also have a Checkpoint coming your way also on Monday. In the meantime, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili on all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Sandra Ezekwesili. And I like to talk. I tweet more than I do anything else. So if you want to get in touch with me, Twitter is the best place to come to. Until then, Lagos, those are your hard facts. Good night.
It's 4 o'clock.